G'day and welcome to a special 4:20 a.m. That's right, 4 a.m. Semen retention, Stephen retention, YouTube special. Now, you're not going to see much because it is quite dark and I'm just going for a walk to the beach. Let's get straight to it. Well, let's talk about the time. 4 a.m. You know, I remember times when I was cooming and whether I was like a, stoner or something like that, sometimes I'd still be awake at 4 a.m. And then it'd be around 4 a.m. I'd be looking at my phone and be like, oh, damn. Yeah, damn, I need to just coom. I need to coom to finally get some rest. I'd jerk that chicken. I'd dip it in some potato gravy. And then I'd let the mayonnaise just fly out. And then I'd wake up the next day feeling like absolute shit and having to do it again just so then I at least got that dopamine rush. Whereas now, 1 year on semen retention, here I am, back on that 4 a.m. grind like I was about a year ago at the start of my streak. I'm actually going to do a timeline kind of run through video at one point, but let's just do a quick summary right now. In that first week of semen retention, I'd done streaks before in the past. I think I got up to like 70 days, 60 days in the past. But that one that I started over the last year, there was something about this current streak that I was like, this one's going to mean something. And something happened internally on like a physical level. I started waking up at 4 a.m. constantly. I remember Alpha T Fitness was uploading videos like a full-on maniac last year, and it was great. I remember waking up at 4 a.m, checking my phone and seeing Alpha T Fitness, sobriety in earnest. Semen retention, sobriety in earnest. You gotta get the semen retention benefits, otherwise you get the semen retention penalties. Sobriety in earnest. That's what Alpha T was all about. Shout out to you, Alpha, wherever you are, up in the stars. Anyway, so that first week I was just fueled with that burning, like, oh, I'm gonna go get it. Like, it was different. I didn't have that feeling of like I need to release. It was like, no, I need to change. And so I kept on waking up at 4 a.m, going for walks. Next thing you know, I'm losing weight. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling slim. I'm feeling trim, And then after about a month, I start quitting some vices. Like I stopped smoking weed, vaping. I was reducing the amount of junk food I had. And things were really going good. And you know what? I still have moments after this whole year where I wake up at 4 a.m. And a lot of people might think, oh, like I woke up at 3 a.m, I woke up at 4. What am I meant to do? Am I meant to just, jerk it off just so I can go back to sleep and make sure that I can sleep? Should I go smoke some weed? Look, guys, I don't really care if you smoke weed. It doesn't agree with me anymore. I don't want to do it with me. It doesn't align with my purpose. But what I'm trying to say is that if you wake up at 4 a.m. or even 3 a.m, get up. Get outside, go for a walk. Because I see waking up at this kind of early time as almost like, they call this the witching hour in Hermeticism. And in real old cultures, 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. before sunrise kind of hours was the time we'd actually wake up. Because if you think about it, we used to wake up at sunrise, like with all the birds and all that kind of stuff. But then we go do our daily kind of thing, maybe have a little siesta, have a lay down under a tree, have a little nap. And then finally, after, eating some food or sitting by a campfire at night, we'd finally go to rest at sunset. And then, around 3 to 4 a.m., the reason why they call this the witching hour is that they believed that it was these highly kind of spiritual things that would happen. This would be a great time to kind of pray to God. This would be a great time to hear, whatever message you have that is coming from God. And I instantly woke up this morning and I just felt this, I've been feeling a lot of testosterone in my body lately. Like, I've been feeling really pumped. Like, I just want to break someone's neck that deserves it. So this is where I live, guys. It's a pretty nice area. Anyway, so basically wake up at 4 a.m. and do what you need to do, but do the physical work, because your body is saying, I'm up, I'm ready to go. And we're men, and again, talking about that testosterone, get it working early, guys. This is the thing. This is the, we talk about the kundalini rising up your spine. This isn't just necessarily about the spiritual awakening benefits, about getting that, getting that serpent ready to strike, So I think it's like important that you do that. Let's have a look at this hotel. It's kind of cool. I like the lights, I like the palm trees. The one thing I don't like is something that I'm going to show you in about 20 seconds. They look like they have some nice food and drinks there, but this is what I don't like. I'm going to try and point my phone through the window. There you go. That's what I don't like. Can you see that? Did you see that? That's what I don't like. Gambling. Semen retention is almost like understanding, what do you put your coins into? Do you put your coins into that instant dopamine rush? Jerking it off. Maybe releasing with that one night stand girl that you actually don't feel any kind of connection with, but you're just playing the role of, being a beta male that releases on her command. No, because those hands, if we're playing poker, that aren't worth putting chips on the table for. As Kenny Rogers sang, you got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. So guys, you got to know what's worth it. Yeah, it just feels good to be walking around at 4 a.m. Trust me, guys, you got to do this. No one's around. If my voice wasn't so tired from gigging and talking so much, I was actually thinking about going on the street and just yelling out, "Semen retention!" like super loud, because I felt so pumped about it. No, trust me, guys, you guys inspire me as well. Like, I've checked out some of my followers, who've commented and requested my Instagram and all that kind of stuff, and I've checked your profiles out. Like, there's musicians, there's athletes, Like, you know, you guys are an inspiring lot, and it's great because I genuinely feel like you guys are on my frequency. Because even though I don't play professional sport, I am an athlete. I've done marathons before. I've been practicing yoga for a very long time. I might walk in the light, but let's just have a look here. So this is the beach. This is one of the nicer beaches in Melbourne. That's why I chose to live here, because I want to live in a nice beach. Nature's so important, guys. But anyway, let's get to the point. Frequencies and everyone. Imagine having a collective of people around you that are all winning. Like, I don't know much about American kind of sports, but from the top of my head, in the NBA, you've got the Boston Celtics. They seem like a team that is always winning. I myself am a classic NPC NBA follower because I follow Chicago Bulls. And I feel like they're a team that had a great culture 30 years ago, but it never has been the same since. It hasn't been strong. But you know what makes a good culture is the people within it. And a collective shared vision. Sorry guys, I'm just looking at something in the sky and it looks really interesting. It doesn't look like a star because it's in front of the clouds. But it's just staying still. Should we go towards the UFO? Let's do it. Yeah, so like winning cultures and all that kind of stuff. I reckon it's a collection of frequencies like enmeshing together, like a blender. Like imagine all this magic dust. You know how like in Disney films the wizard would be doing like spells and then all this magic dust would be like flying in the air as they're doing the spell. Like imagine all that magic dust from everyone's hands just like shooting into this massive cauldron, this massive mixing bowl. And then you mix the bowl together and it creates that shared vision. Same thing goes for the music industry. Imagine being in a band of people that all had that same vision, that all shared that same magic, that all dreamed as big as you, that all respected the struggle that comes with being an artist or an athlete or a writer or whatever it is you want to be. Imagine if you just had a collective of people like that just came together and strive for greatness. Like that's how empires are built, guys. Like it's literally what a culture is. The word culture actually is derived from from a biological point. Like a cult is like cultivate. You know, you have something. In order to cultivate something, you need to. It needs to grow itself. It's like its own organism. If you're making your own bread, you need to have a culture, or what some people call a mother, which is like this kind of yeast property that grows bacteria and all these things, and then that's what makes the bread. Like for example, sourdough have like a specific taste and all that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting, you know, when you think about the word culture and all that kind of stuff, you need to have some sort of time element to it where things grow on top of it. Yeah, like you just can't get, you know how like in a team or something like that, you might get people that just like a coach will, let's use basketball as an example. Like, you might have a coach that has selected all these great players from different clubs, and he's just put them all together. They want to play at this club because it's got, a rich history or something. But then there's that underdog club, that underdog that has a group of young guys that don't have big names, they don't have the reputation, but they all have the belief, and they all strive to be a collective unit. And then over time, even though they're young, they develop a strong connection with each other. And that connection matures, just like that culture in that bread matures in the jar. It gets the bacteria, it starts to grow, it cultivates itself into something. So when that culture matures in that collective, whether it be like the NBA or a band or something like that, that is what we really need for something to grow. Like, I'm talking like an empire, kind of like some massive change. Not even just like an empire, but even just like if we talk about semen retention, like, you think about how massive it would be if, instead of it being like maybe 1 in 100 people know about semen retention, 1 in 1,000 people can do SR for a year. Imagine if those statistics were 9 out of 10 people practice semen retention, and 90 out of 100 people are doing SR for a whole year, and then that 10 of 100 people, they're breeding, they're making babies, because we need to populate the planet. So essentially, the way that I see things is that I'm inspired to be part of this YouTube community. I know that masculinity is under attack at the moment because Netflix has aired that show that's about like Andrew Tate or something. And I think it's just like, it's one of those things that, like, what can you do about it? They're always going to attack it because the elites don't want, like, I don't know. I'm not even going to rant about it, but I think you guys get it. Like, so, yeah, I'm not going to ramble on too much longer, but this is my 4 a.m. thoughts. They all came through me then, but I just want to say to my subscribers, you guys inspire me a lot as well. I see comments, I see what you guys are doing with your lives as well. The people that shared me your Instagram pages and stuff like that. Like, shout out to you boys. If you do want to follow me on Instagram, go send an email of your Instagram tag to stevenretention@gmail.com, and I'll follow you, because I think it's good to just have people on your social media that you actually are inspired by, and not just those losers that you knew from high school. Like, let's be honest, like, I went through a bit of a social media cleanse the other day, and just got rid of a lot of people that I just don't really care about. And anyway, I'm gonna just enjoy the rest of this walk. But peace out, fellas. Have a good day. Cheers.